We're all doing this right now. We're all doing it because our first featured matchup of the day here for our latest week of Quake Pro League is two legends, cypher and COOLLERZ. It's going to be fantastic, Flea. But it's not just us. We're joined today for our first featured matchup, as always, by the one and only DJ Wheat. How's it going, bro?
It's going great, gentlemen. Good morning. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone's enjoying some Quake, and it's a fun weekend for gaming. So happy to be here.
There is so much competitive activity going on for so many games this weekend, and Quake is an absolutely fantastic addition to that. And it's almost fitting that this weekend we've got COOLLERZ and cypher going head-to-head for our first matchup. I mean, Flea, what can we say about this match that hasn't been said a million times over for years?
I mean, you will be hard-pressed to find any more long-standing players than these two, right? These are some of the absolute most veteran competitors in all of Quake. These two go back years and years and years, and it's always a joy when they go head-to-head. Now, last time they played, it was actually COOLLERZ who won, came out on top 2-1, even though it was cypher who managed to put down a tremendously strong performance in the stage finals, going all the way to the grand finals against, of course, Rafa.
Yeah, that's it's surprising, and unfortunately, COOLLERZ hasn't had the best stage. We haven't seen the COOLLERZ that we've seen, as you mentioned, Flea. These two kind of create a legendary set of matches and games over the course of 10+ years. But there's no doubt that the individual who is on a tear specifically for stage 3 is cypher. He took down Razy, he took down CNZ, and he did lose to Wenger. Very close matchup, but compared to what we're seeing on COOLLERZ side, which was a loss to Base, a win versus Garfy, and a loss to Razy, this is definitely cypher's game to win, and definitely the matchup in which COOLLERZ needs to step up and show old form if he's going to want to take out his age-old friend and rival.
But without playing the highest amount of series in the world, this would be a great opportunity to kind of almost even up that scoreline. Now, we'll talk about the picks and bans as we come through here. But these are two players that will always show each other the utmost respect. Veil of Nath, again, this has been a popular map today, folks. Ison versus Galena. Deep Embrace, seeing that for the first time today with Strog and Ranger. And then afterwards, Awoken with the Battle of Lights, with another light being removed. An interesting exchange, I think, Flea.
Indeed, first time we're getting to see Deep Embrace today, but Veil of Nath has been featured in just about every series so far. Starting off with the deployable champions, right? Ison with the turret versus Galena on the totem. A matchup as old as Quake Champions itself. Love seeing cypher on the Galena, of course. He was one of those players who played her from the very beginning. Even when she wasn't meta at all, cypher was still rocking her and making use of the totems, so he's a massive threat with that.
Yeah, I'm excited we're getting to see Deep Embrace and Awoken too. When I think about these two players, I do definitely want to see action. We're going to see it in all three maps, but I think specifically Deep Embrace and Awoken is where things are going to step up just a little bit. The Strog versus Ranger, I'm not really surprised to see that at all. I think every single matchup we've seen from COOLLERZ, he has been rocking a Strog in some capacity. And he also has been playing Anarchy quite a bit. Now, on Awoken, that should be interesting. But, this is a great little map set and champion pool for this matchup.
Well, looks like both players in the lobby are readying up, and we'll be jumping into Veil of Nath sharpish. And the sooner we can jump into this map, the better, I'm sure, because everyone is looking forward to it. Two absolute fan favorites, and for good reason. I think we're expecting a real good show. A 2-1 would be a sick result. Recently, I think, favoring cypher, but we'll see. I'm sure people are divided a little bit down the middle in chat. And speaking of chat, I'm going to go and join you and leave you in the capable hands of Flea and DJ Wheat. So, folks, take it away.
Thank you, Ketchup. Thank you. Now, chat's probably divided, but if we look at the predictions, chat's not so they're divided, but heavily favoring cypher. 82% to COOLLERZ, his 18%, and I feel like that has more to do with the results of Cooler over the past 2 weeks. We just, everyone when they watch a Cooler match, they know, right? They know what he's capable of. They've seen him play for many, many years, and typically that's what they're expecting. And unfortunately, he has not been playing up to those expectations the last few weeks.
I think it's more than just the past 2 weeks, right? If we just look at the previous stage finals, COOLLERZ showed up. First, he lost to Maxter. Immediately afterwards, he lost to Base, and that was it. He was out of the stage finals instantly. And this is a man who, back in Season 1, got to hoist the belt over his head once before, right? So he clearly has got what it takes to make it to the top. But so far, in the past few weeks, I dare even say the past few months, COOLLERZ really hasn't been playing up to par.
Yeah, and I mean, we've gotten a chance to see Avik, cypher, Wenger, Razy, all of the really, really strong players over on the EU region. And you can tell who's putting the reps in. You can tell who's making sure that they're getting their Quake matches in on a pretty regular basis. And I think a lot of fans, myself included, just want to see that true inform Cooler. Now, cypher, as we mentioned, he's been in form, so my predictions definitely tend to lead more towards cypher. And based off of how he has been playing, I might even say that this is a potential 3-0 for cypher.
Ooh, a 3-0. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. I do hope that we are going to see COOLLERZ do better than just that. So I am still going to say 2-1, but I definitely do favor cypher when it comes down to this matchup. Now, on that note, we have loaded into the first map of this series. It will be Veil of Nav. We've got cypher, we've got COOLLERZ. Chat, make some noise. Get those predictions out as we're kicking it off on cypher's point of view.
Yep, and cypher is going to get that heavy pickup as well as just kind of start his arsenal here. But early on, now, one interesting thing about COOLLERZ that we've seen, at least in this stage, is that nice rockets. Oh, double rocket coming out there from cypher. Oh my gosh, both of those hitting direct. That was pretty incredible. And COOLLERZ did run through. What I was going to say, Flea, as of course every time I open my mouth, it seems like we're going to have another fight here. Let's hold off because I think we might see the first frag. Actually, COOLLERZ getting a ton of damage off. In the first 45 seconds, things went back and forth, but COOLLERZ got the best of that battle.
cypher somehow escaping with just 4 points of health in that engagement. Not sure how he managed to pull it off, but somehow he's still alive. And now the stacks are pretty much equal. COOLLERZ has got a slight advantage. Also has got the high ground, so positionally better placed than cypher. But the Na'Vi player is in a really good spot to at least secure the Mega. And indeed he will do just that. Nice rail as well. This is good. cypher turning it around, coming back from that 4 health point that he was at just moments ago. And now firmly in the lead, or rather in control of the map.
Thank you, chat, for pointing out that those hit turrets, so that's helpful. My brain was like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. So now I know. Flea, what I was going to say is that an interesting thing we've seen about COOLLERZ is in the opening moments of these matches, that's usually where we're seeing the best COOLLERZ, right? He's playing calm, he's playing very collected, he is absolutely kind of trying to play a mental game. Unfortunately, where we sometimes see that breakdown is when a nice pickup there by cypher, dropping down, avoiding that turret, and getting the LG kill, is when we see him, maybe he gets that really close fight, and then he turns on the aggression, but then he never really turns off the aggression. Now, I don't feel like that's what we're seeing here so far. COOLLERZ is going to try to steal away, and he cannot. Wow, huge rocket jump up to the heavy, and the rocket for the frag.
That was just beautiful. cypher in one single rocket jump, stealing away the item and then also landing a beautiful shot as well. Now Heavy will be the next major item to spawn, and cypher once again controlling the top area of the map, and that is so important, especially when it comes to these two champions, right? Because neither has the mobility to just make their way straight up. It's not as if someone's playing Ranger with the orb. You've got to take the teleporter or the bounce pad to get up there. And that is what cypher is banking on when he's holding down the top areas of the map. And COOLLERZ will again drop a frag, and now cypher already firmly in the lead, 3-0. almost making it 4. COOLLERZ still sticking around. Dangerously so.
Letting those nails fly. In fact, he's going to double back from where he was just at, and very, very low and easy pickup with the LG and the rocket from cypher, putting 4-0 up on the scoreboard, and could find another one here. Turret's not going to help out too much. cypher still able to put out that damage. He'll finally be, oh, wow. I thought he was going to go and take out the turret, but then turns right back around. COOLLERZ was still there. COOLLERZ still kind of, you mentioned it, Flea, like sticking around for some of these fights in times that I'm not sure that that's the smartest move to do.
cypher leading the way both in damage as well as item pickups, but that railgun isn't going to help him. Desperate switch as he tries to jump away, but kind of fumbled the weapons right there. I think he just wasn't quite ready for COOLLERZ to be that aggressive and to be on his case that quickly, so he thought he might have an opportunity to just switch to rail. COOLLERZ right behind him! cypher
took a big rocket, lot of tribal, but COOLLERZ gets his first frag. A nice little play there as he double backed and came up from behind. That's unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get the heavy off of that. cypher was still able to grab that heavy, but I think COOLLERZ just going to be happy to be on the scoreboard.
Gotta start somewhere, and for COOLLERZ it's about 4 minutes in. Now he does get Mega as well. But the problem is that cypher basically has a Mega of his own. COOLLERZ really has to start chasing down those totems at this point. If he leaves them up, just look at what this is doing for cypher. Once more, max health, and he steals away the heavy as well. Now COOLLERZ might be under the impression that he's got the health advantage because he picked up Mega, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
Ooh. Big rocket as he goes to the teleport. Oh no! They both go through the teleporter, and cypher's going to get the better of that exchange, 6-1. That is just unfortunate there, and I think you're right, Flea. I think that COOLLERZ felt, you know what? I can take this battle. I'm going to kind of stay here. I think he did believe he had the advantage, but unfortunately, cypher is just looking real nice. I mean, you're looking at his pickups. He certainly has better heavy, better Mega overall, and 14 of those lights. But also, right, in terms of his LG damage, COOLLERZ doing a little bit more, but we've got about a 47% rail over on cypher's side, and some of those rails have absolutely been right on the money.
COOLLERZ now applying good pressure to his opponent. I think that cypher will be forced to give up heavy. Indeed, COOLLERZ gets a clean pickup. Loving the positioning there though. cypher so good on the reads right now. Getting a perfect idea of how COOLLERZ is going to approach that next fight and just waits for it. Carefully setting up with a wall behind his back so he knows COOLLERZ can't just take him by surprise, and then a little bit of a rail, and that's basically that heavy negated already.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too. I mean, cypher's just always on top of COOLLERZ here in a lot of these matchups. And there's some LG from the bottom. Nicely done. We do have the turret coming out, and that could be an opportunity for COOLLERZ to steal away that heavy. And he most certainly did. Now 5 frags still, but the clock ticking away, Flea, almost to 3 minutes remaining. 5 frags in 3 minutes, it's still a tough order. They're going to have a fight here in this light room. COOLLERZ finally cleaning up. There's a lot of effort there, but 6-2 on the board, and you mentioned it earlier, you got to start somewhere, and this is a good window of opportunity here for COOLLERZ to try to bring it back.
COOLLERZ also just managed to take down the last of the totems. So cypher is now putting down his first one again, but it will take at least a while, several minutes at this point, before he can get that overstack going once again. So this is a really good opportunity for COOLLERZ. Yes, he's pressed for time, but he has managed to negate a major advantage that cypher has playing Galena.
Yeah, great point. And we'll see what COOLLERZ can do here. So they're still following through cypher's eyes and just making sure that he's got an arsenal in order to fight here, and not really pushing anything. You can see him kind of slowing down here as he waits for COOLLERZ coming around the corner. Does manage to hit him with a nice rocket, but COOLLERZ not going to give up, put down the totem just in case COOLLERZ decides to chase. And a lot of damage was done there. And as you mentioned, only 1 totem right now And Cooler wondering and looking for where his opponent is. We see the turret go out there on the top. Cooler's going to grab that heavy, and Mega's going to be up soon. Another rocket hit. Nicely done. LG coming out as Cooler's on the top. Turret gets dispatched, but Cooler, can he follow up on this one? Huge rockets coming out. Cooler now very, very low and not great here in the final moments of this game.
The railgun strikes again. I think the rail has been a decisive factor in Cypher's impending victory on this map. If we look at the stats, Cooler has only managed to hit 2, now 3 rails. Cypher has hit 10. Not that large of an amount, but nearly 1,000 damage coming out of Cypher with that one weapon alone. Every single time there's one of these engagements at longer distance, it feels like Cypher gets a tiny bit of extra damage. You know, he lands the rail on the exit, or he punishes Cooler for picking up an item, and the Russian player just isn't able to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, Cypher definitely was hitting his rails for cleanup when they counted the most as well. Cooler did get a nice little rail there to make it 8-3, but very, very low. He is going to go down again to make it 9-3 in our last 30 seconds. And, you know, I wouldn't say that this was a... Ooh. I would say this is like an absolutely terrible performance for Cooler. I feel like he definitely tempered his aggression here. He played very smart there from the offset. But, you know, this is Cypher and a version of Cypher who I think is putting a lot of time and effort into the game. You mentioned his map awareness, you mentioned his reads, and then on top of that, you put in his aim. Oh, beauty rail to end it off. 11-3 here to close game number 1 out, and Cypher takes that one convincingly and even gives us a little butte there at the end.
Beautiful start from Cypher. Now we have to keep in mind though, 11-3, that's a pretty big score difference, but it was much closer than that up until the final few minutes, right? So like you said, Cooler definitely held his own for much of this series. Were a few opportunities where it really seemed like he was starting to launch a comeback, but I think that Cypher's defensive play was just so on point. Every time that Cooler got some control of the map, of the items, Cypher was just like, okay, well, peace, I'm out of here, I'm gonna set up over on Railgun, over at that bounce pad over there, and I'm just gonna slowly wait, get myself the basic resources back, punish you with a rail when you do pick something up, and here we go. I'm right back into the driver's seat. So Cooler just couldn't find any way of dealing with Cypher's defensive plays.
And Flea, I gotta be honest with you, I'm happy that Cooler didn't decide to just go with all-out aggression as a way to try to deal with it, because I think that's where he's kind of fallen in some of the matches in stage 3 specifically, where he just turns on the aggression and then he never really turns it off. And then it gets to a point where it's going to be almost impossible to bring it back, almost impossible to try to tie it up. I think when he plays that more mental game, he turns on the aggression when it's appropriate, and then, you know, tempers it when he needs to. That's the version of Cooler that I love to watch play. I feel like we saw that much more than we've seen in some of the previous weeks.
Yeah. Well, let's hope he can keep his cool, remain focused as we are moving into the next map shortly. Now, this one will be Deep Embrace. First time we're getting to see this new map being played, or rather newish map still, in my opinion at least, played today. Cypher will be rocking the Ranger, and Cooler will be playing Strog.
I love this map. I love this combination on this map. I just a lot of good action. Seen some really strong, clever Strog and Peeker play come out, and the Peekers that get dropped. Obviously, with the orb, there's some real fun stuff that you can do, whether that's to command the heavy, or to steal a mega, or just to get in the face of your opponent. So this to me is kind of like a perfect little configuration for Deep Embrace as far as I'm concerned, of players themselves too, things to look out for, smaller map, more action, chance to turn up that aggression, right? I would expect we'll see that kind of slow play at the beginning, yet again, as we've been seeing more commonly, more and more. But, right, just Cooler, just make, you know, watch out for that aggression. Don't turn it on too hot.
I mean, we all know that Cooler shines the most when he can keep control of the resources, right? He's the Pac-Man of Quake. He will eat every little shred of health and armor and steal it away from you. And playing Strog is actually very useful in helping him do that, right? Because he's got that base mobility and speed that Cypher doesn't have. Yes, Cypher has the orb, but when it comes down to just moving around the map, Cooler is far more mobile, and that might really help him with his standard game plan.
I agree. And over, we've got a split here. Cypher got the Mega. We did have the first rail coming out from Cooler. Cooler got the Heavy. We're gonna have Pika come out into the Orb. Orb was just a ruse. He does not go for it. And again, look at the respect these two players showing one another, playing a more medium, long distance game. Cooler landing that first rail. Nice rocket. Can Cooler follow up with that one? Cooler got hit himself and is very, very low. That's going to allow Cypher to scoop in and grab that Heavy, and that might not be good for Cooler. He's trapped. He's got no armor. He's trying to find a way out. The LG is on the hunt, and Cypher is going to get that first frag.
Will get the Mega for his trouble as well, and there is a big delay between Mega and Heavy, and this is no doubt going to favor Cypher, because he can just set up on Heavy. Cooller's even gonna go for it. What a messy fight. Both players are hurting, and Cooler!
Wow!
The jump shot through the rails will connect and take down Cypher. That was unexpected.
I mean, you said that it was a messy fight. I kind of agree, but it was Cooler that got the best of that messy fight. Not sure about that orb there. I think that based off of where Cypher was, he had the position to easily take that frag, but Cooler capitalizing on the mistake of his opponent. We're now tied up 1-1. And yes, the huge discrepancy between the two majors is going to make for some interesting gameplay here. As, oh, nice! The orb comes out, but he's like, I've got a rail for you here. Take it. And Cooler now up on this one, 2-1. And can he hold on? Pika comes out, try to get some early damage. A lot is done off the spawn, and that Mega's up. And Cypher cannot stick around to even contest it because he was so very low. That's going to allow Cooler to get it and potentially set up for the Heavy.
Now this might be the start of something beautiful for Cooler fans. He's got Mega. He's got the setup for Heavy as well. Cypher doesn't have rails. Cypher doesn't have rockets. Essentially, there's nothing he can do at close range or at distance other than hopefully do some damage with Heavy Machine Gun or Shoddy, whereas Cooler has got a full arsenal and is now just roaming the map trying to deny everything. And that is exactly how we know the Russian player likes to approach these games. Now Cypher, brilliant use of the orb, at least denies the Mega. Can he do anything more with this life? That's a lot of damage. Cooler immediately finds himself on the back foot. What a quick turnaround tweet.
Yeah, definitely the tables were turned there big time as Cooler unfortunately dropped down, and now he is well, he's the prey now, and Cypher is definitely the predator. So Cooler's got to make sure that, and he is gonna, he sees that 50, but he knows exactly where Cypher is, and Mega is up. And this is the weird thing about these super split major items. We see Peeker come out and a lot of damage done there with the shotgun, but there it is. Oh, huge orb. It's going to allow Cypher to get top positioning and easily dispatch Cooler there with that shoddy, and we are tied once again 2-2, but now we've got our major items much more closer to one another as well.
The orb, just like when we saw Garpy play earlier on Ruins, has been so crucial for Cypher's battle plan. That ability really is what's opening up the map to him. He steals away Mega with it, he steals away the Heavy with it, he puts himself in such a position where Cooler can't follow, and then just does a lot of damage from above. Now Cooler, on the other hand, had a solid strategy going for a while.
Oh no.
Cooler's strategy for a while came down to, I want to deny Railgun as long as I can and then use the Peeker, because it's so difficult to destroy the little robot when you don't have Rail. But now Cypher does have that weapon at his disposal, and he's just running away with it now.
We see Cooler with a little bit of springing his step there as he comes off of the spawn after that suicide. We were a tie game 2-2, but a great positioning move by cypher as he heard the rocket jumped up to himself, and as they exchanged rockets, Cooler, unfortunately, a lot of self-damage, but he's looking good off the spawn now and in a place where he can fight. In fact, he has cypher kind of blocked off in this back corner. He finally makes his way out, does hit a nice rocket. Great rail from the back off the map. 2-2, and we could see another one off the spawn here. Big LG hit, nice to double rocket, but Cooler is very, very low. However, he has the lead.
It will be Cypher picking up the Mega. There's just no way that Cooler can rush in to try and secure the item. Doesn't have the stack to do that, nor was he in a position to get out on time. Once again, the orb. Straight on by Cooler and just jumps immediately on the small armor, and now Cooler's stuck.
Oh.
For a moment there, I think Cooler was contemplating a rocket jump, and then he realized just how low he was.
Yeah.
He figured that, nope, if I go for a rocket jump, I'm killing myself. So he knew the end was near, and Cypher ties it right back up.
Yeah, I'm loving what we're seeing here between these two. Rocket jump up to the top, but Cypher has his LG out, and it is the perfect weapon for the situation. He is going to get his 4th frag here, and off the spawn, Cooler's going to try to immediately use that rocket to dish out as much damage as possible. Very, very low, but look at Cooler as well, and oh, jumping down. He knows that Cooler's on top of the heavy. He gets the frag, easy peasy, and picks up the heavy, and another one off the spawn and flee. This is that aggression that worries me an awful lot, because Cooler, he knows his opponent's low, but he did give up the frag in order to gain that one back. He's still in this, but now fighting from 2 frags behind instead of just the 1.
Cypher is just reading Cooler extremely well right now. He knows that Cooler just loves to sidestep just behind a wall or something and then send the peeker straight out. So he knew that Cooler was likely waiting there, trying to bully him out of the teleporter exit with that peeker. And so instead of just going straight for him, he jumped around the side and got a kill. And that's a beautiful one to add to that. Now Cooler does get the railgun without taking damage in turn, so that is going to help him out. But he needs more than just a weapon. He needs damage, and that's exactly what he gets out of the peeker. Cypher, 30 points of health. Still sticking around. Good play from Cypher. Obviously, he knows that Cooler has to basically jump right at him to take away the heavy. And he had this idea that he would be able to just dip out of the room the moment that Cooler showed his face. And that's exactly what happens.
We saw the orb from Cooler fly out. Cooler actually watched that orb go by, didn't take the bait, and Cypher's still going to scoop in to grab that Mega. Cooler now down by 3 with about 2.5 minutes left to go and flee. It's been a good game, but this is going to be a tough road here. Now, the speed definitely on Cooler's side, getting a single fragger. Oh, and Peeker dishing out the damage, but Cypher had a beat on his opponent, allowed him to get a lot of damage there off of Cooler. Now, Cypher looking for that long distance rail, see if he can get a little payback by setting Cooler off of the map, but it's not going to happen. Sitting on top of Mega, it's picked up yet again, and jumping across, he is tagged by Cypher's rail. We see the tribal come out into the orb on top of the heavy, 8-4, and Cypher grabs the heavy as well.
I feel like Cooler using the peeker the way he hasn't really worked out for him. I can think of 1, maybe 2 situations this map where he really got a lot of damage out of it without taking anything in return. But most of the times when he uses the peeker, it feels like Cypher typically just ignores the robot altogether, rushes him, and makes the most out of the engagement, right? So not really sure if Cooler has really gotten much use out of that ability.
Yeah, there's been a couple times where it's certainly been pretty nice. He's done a lot of damage, but I completely agree with you. It hasn't served the same purpose as Cypher and his orb has. He's used it for positioning. He's used it simply as bait as well. And it's worked out quite nicely for him. Missed rocket jump from the Mega, but it doesn't even matter at this point. Another rocket jump up to the top, and he does eat that peaker damage, but this time is not going to be as forgiving, Flea, as the rocket to clean it up. 11-5, but in the last 40 seconds, Cypher is going to absolutely pick up game number 2.
Well deserved as well. This will spell at least a 2-0 victory for Cypher. COOLLERZ still has one shot to prove his worth in this encounter. Still has an opportunity to secure a map. Last map will be Awoken though, and that's going to be pretty similar to Deep Embrace in terms of general playstyle. Can he do it? Remains to be seen.
Well, there's another great example of exactly what you were talking about. Peaker did come out, but it didn't matter. Cypher went right past it. It's like, I've got to get out of jail free card, and easily dispatched him. Made, what was the final score? 14-6, and a lot of those frags came out there at the very end. It was a close game. We did see Cooler turn up the aggression quite a bit there in the mid. He did dial it back after he got that frag, but it did allow Cypher to kind of widen that gap a little bit, Flea, to allow him to kind of take those final frags to really solidify that game in his favor. Then he's up 2-0. He wins the series, but as you mentioned, we have another map there. I don't know. I mean, you know, I think both players started off well. We had that sloppy fight at the beginning, but Cooler got the best of that. Cypher, however, just always kind of seemed to be one step ahead of Cooler. The map awareness, once again, definitely coming into play here on Deep Embrace.
Now the final map, Awoken. Similar to Deep Embrace, but very different champion picks. This is one of the few times that we get to see two lights duke it out. Not something you see every day in the Quake Pro League. Cooler will be running the Anarchy, so he's got that injection, got the movement speed, the air control, of course, as well. Then on the other hand, Cypher has got the wall jump, and the wall jump is such a powerful tool on Awoken in particular. So many nifty little jumps that you can do, shortcuts to make your way around the map, and then, of course, the invisibility. I wonder how Cooler is going to approach the injection this map though. Is he going to hold on to it until he really needs it? Or is he going to be spamming it non-stop to get his own stack up while also being able to deny those hourglasses that Cypher will be counting on?
Yeah, I probably think it's the latter. At least that's probably the game plan going in. Like, we'll have to see exactly what happens in the heat of battle. But I think that's the latter. There's been a couple of maps, actually, with Cooler playing Anarchy where it's like, I don't really know about this, but he's made it work. And, you know, this could be one of those weeks that he makes it work versus Cypher. Would still love to see a 2-1. Would love to see Cooler kind of bring this one back. But, you know, I think that Cypher today on this Sunday, Flea, he is the total package. His aim seems on. His map awareness seems sharp. And he seems very comfortable where he's at. Can Cooler stop it? We've had some good moments in these last two games, but we've yet to see him fully grab and then keep control, ultimately what he's going to need versus an opponent like Cypher.
And indeed, let us see if he can change that in the final map of this series. Cooler fans, if you're out there, make yourself be heard. I want to see some Coolers in chat. Predictions are up as well. So far, they are heavily favoring Navi Cypher, but show Cooler some love as well as we are loading into the final map of this series. Two Titans of Quake once again going at it. And we're starting off once more of Cypher's point of view.
Well, Cooler busted out. He couldn't hit that inject fast enough right off of spawn. So we see that first one come off, to be expected here. And now we'll have our initial fights happen as Cypher gets tagged with a rocket there, pushing him into the lower hallways. And the rail game heavy between these two, even though they both missed. And oh, the Ghost Walk comes out after a wall jump, and Cooler chasing after that one, unfortunately, spawned just as he was dropping down as well. And look at the intensity of these two players here so far in these opening minute of Awoken.
Highly aggressive. Both players immediately looking for a fight. Cypher will have that Ghost Walk right back up. So Cooler is not yet in an opportunity to just capitalize of him forcing it out earlier. Interesting to see how cypher is approaching this as well. He's definitely not just using the Ghost Walk defensively. That was very much an aggressive and calculated Ghost Walk just to get positioning and try and punish Cooler picking up the Mega, which indeed he managed to do.
And he's feeling confident in his rail flea. These are just flying out, and he's hitting a lot of them. Cooler, I'm actually impressed that he's been able to keep his stack at least, well, it's low, but he's been railed consistently here the last few minutes. And hold on, we've got the Mega popping up. Actually, great job by Cooler, kind of disengaging from that matchup, or from that fight right there, as it's still 0-0. And again, I kind of like the pace and what we're seeing out of both of these players. Cypher's unfortunately having some trouble climbing that wall, and there's the Ghost Walk coming out. That time definitely used as an escape mechanism, as Cooler had that bead of LG locked directly on him, and he needed it to get away.
Despite all of the action we've seen, Wheat, still a tied game at 0-0. Neither player actually getting themselves on the board. Cooler has a stack advantage. This is a real opportunity for the Russian player. Cypher is railable, doesn't have the Ghost Walk available, yet still, he finds a way through and escapes. But Cooler so quick. Cypher just heard him go around the corner when he exited to teleporter and was like, okay, I'm safe. Nope, the air control straight back in. And Cypher, I don't think he was ready for that burst of aggression. So Cooler finally getting himself on the board first.
Yeah, he wasn't, and Ghostwalk came up just kind of as he was dying as well. So good read there by Cooler. And now with Cypher down by 1, this might be the first time that Cooler has had a map lead kind of first in this matchup. So let's see exactly what he's going to do, as he is certainly comfortable and liking that speed. Cannot, this is dangerous. He's going to just get out of there. The inject as well. He knows his opponent's on it. The Ghost Walk was popped, and that was actually well handled there by Cooler as best as it could. Another rocket coming in, very, very dangerous for both players, and somehow they both managed to stay alive. Tribolt coming out, tagging Cooler down to 48. Cypher, the only one with armor, but the heavy is up, and Cooler recovers from that one. Rocket jump up to the top, has to back. Oh my gosh, as he takes the LG damage and the Tribolt, and suddenly at 28 health and 12 armor, he's going to have to retreat and restack here before he takes on Cypher again.
Cooler defected to the side of the map that had heavy, but Cypher went on the side that had literally everything else. All of the bubbles, the small armor, and that just helped him apply the pressure when Cooler was just waiting on heavy and then picking it up. So Cypher ended up getting the upper hand in that engagement. Should be able to secure Mega as well. And now Cooler is kind of lost on the map. Hasn't been able to take either of the major items in this last rotation, but is still looking healthy enough to make a stand when Cypher pushes in. Oh, that's a pretty good rocket. Just nice like that.
Rockets.
Yeah.
Yep. Ghostwalk is back up now. And, oh, they're going to exchange. In fact, enough to make Cypher pop that Ghost Walk. He is going to steal away that heavy, but a great rail coming out by Cooler. And he is still laying on the damage. Misses that rail. That would have been a huge one. He definitely could have chased there. As, once again, these flyby rails, unfortunately not hitting there for Cypher. But as he comes up through the middle, Cooler's waiting for it. Is he ready? Pop! There goes the rocket. And he can't follow up with the second one. But again, Cypher on the low end of the health stack. Cooler going to grab that light and just take a quick look at damage. It's very, very equal, but the better railgun certainly coming out here on Cypher's side. Well, Ghost Walk and Inject about to come back up, and for the first time in a while, Cooler grabs that Mega.
Nice 1-2. Can he find the third one? Cooler instantly popping that injection and getting clean out of the room. And now it is Cypher who's railable. Cooler, no doubt looking to get another frag on the boards. But the Ghost Walk will save the Na'Vi player once more. And now Cooler knows that he's got an opportunity. Not only does he get heavy, but Cypher doesn't have the Ghost Walk.
Oh.
A little bit of a fumble right there with the rocket jump.
Yeah, I mean, he still grabs Mega. He didn't get the chase on, so he can kind of starve Cypher here a little bit, but that's unfortunate because you can tell just given the speed and the intensity of Cooler, he's looking for a second frag to widen that lead a little bit. And as he goes up the jump pad, he gets quite a bit of damage there off on Cypher. Hit from the back now. And Cooler gonna head on out. No, he does not get to heavy in time. It's scooped up by Cypher. He's gonna sit on top of the Mega. Not up quite yet. He's got to be careful here. Lands a rail of his own, but picks up that Mega in a great position yet again, Flea. And he could pick up another frag here versus Cypher.
Cypher's defensive and evasive plays have been so good, Wheat, because he hasn't had to ghost walk up that much in these past 2 minutes or so. Constantly having to use it just to escape with a sliver of health and survive till the next fight, then Cooler is unable to really spot him in the next 45 seconds. Cypher does take away the Mega. Both players seeing this through till the end. Cypher switches to the rail. He figured he was bound to lose that one, but he can't quite get the shot, and so Cooler 2 frags in the lead now.
And he needed that. I mean, as we get down to about 2.5 minutes left, he's still got to be careful. Oh my gosh, Ghost Walk is up. Cooler got out of there just at the perfect time. Gonna head on over to the Mega, but has to be careful. Knows he can fight this Mega without the Ghost Walk, which has got to feel pretty good. He's in a great position to take this game, Flea. I think he's just got to keep up with what he's doing now. Do we see that light spawn down there? And I kind of like Cooler slowing this down, looking for an opportunity here to maybe surprise his opponent again, land one of those rails. The Ghost Walk's going to be back up here in just a moment, and he does pick up that heavy, but takes a rail for it.
Mega will be going to Cypher. Time is not in his favor right now. 2 frags in 2 minutes. He's gonna find Cooler. And goes for the aggressive Ghost Walk as well. Cooler knows this. Just makes a run for it. And Cypher disengages. He knows that even though Nyx is a fast champion with that wall jump, she cannot keep up with that air control that Cooler has. That is so risky from Cypher. He surely will drop a frag here. Showing up on Mega several seconds too early, Wheat. That ended up costing him dearly.
Yeah, I mean, way too early, and that was just a nice read by Cooler there as well. At the time, he knew Ghost Walk was down. He had a lot of damage out. Wow, Cypher with a jumping rail from the top, but man, 2 minutes. I mean, this is still pretty scary, actually. Let's see what Cooler does here. He's going to pop the inject and grab himself a light. He has got a minute to basically play keep away from Cypher, and Cypher is on the chase, obviously. One big frag here. And potentially able to tie it up, and there he's going to hit a rocket and a rail into the Ghost Walk. Cooler does get away. The heavy goes over to Cypher, and I still think, well, Cooler just needs to run. I think had he somehow been able to convert out of that Ghost Walk, we could have been able to tie. Oh no, 20 seconds. This is it, Flea. Can he do it?
He sure is going to try, but Cooler is so fast. Nice little rocket. Cooler is not going to stick around to fight that. Doesn't have LG to block off the bounce pad either. He's just going to start running circles. Even pops the inject when he knows that he can make the most use of it. And Cooler will at least secure 1 map. So it wasn't a 3-0, not a blowout, but still Cypher looking pretty dominant, especially on those first 2 maps.
Yeah, he was looking dominant, but game 3 showed us that Cooler's still in there. He is his heart and his brain and his head, they're all still intact when they come out like that. That's exactly the type of performance I think you could see. Let's bring Ketchup back in the mix and see what he thought about this one. 2-1, it went to Cypher, but what do you think?
I think that it's nice for Cypher that he's able to kind of correct what happened last time they played, but at the same time, today has been very much that idea of that final map being a chance to kind of turn things around a little bit. And it's good for Cooler in the fashion he was able to win it. You're not particularly used to seeing an Anarchy player be that defensive as Cooler. It was all about movement, right? All about mobility, but not to be aggressive, but to be patient. heavily play around what Cypher's doing. And a nice way to kind of finish up that final map where it's, yes, Cypher did take the victory today, but keep an eye out for the next time we encounter, because we'll have to talk about the 2-1 and that final map being a very different story altogether. And it just continues that rivalry. Years, in the making.
I think there's a lot of people in chat who owe me some channel points now, because just before this started, I said put some predictions on COOLLER, guys, show him some love, and I saw it just jump up by 100,000 points in COOLLER's favor out of nowhere, and then he ends up taking the map. So don't hit me up for insider trading advice, but chat, come on,
Pay
show
it
me
forward
some
to
love.
Flea. Come on.
Absolutely, yeah. Cypher, well played. COOLLER, indeed, showing signs of life in that final map. Clearly not out of it just yet, but I do think that he's got to continue stepping it up if he wants to avoid getting a bad seed going into the finals.
Well, I've been keeping an eye on chat, even before the matchup and while we're talking about it and breaking it down. And there's always whispers of people saying that COOLLER was specifically training for this matchup. And it's something that I definitely wouldn't be surprised by, because it's Cypher and COOLLER. Like they know how good each other is. So when you have enough time to go, right, this is my opponent this week, and you've got time to prepare, how could you not prepare for Cypher or COOLLER? Like, it just makes sense to do that, doesn't it? But on that note, I'm very curious as to Cypher's levels of preparation. I'd love to talk to him about it. If we were able to get an interview, that would be fantastic. But obviously, as soon as we know, we'll let you know and bring him in. But the level of preparation you need for these kinds of players has to be through the roof.
100%. I mean, especially when you're talking about players who you have played for years, right? I mean, you can't take these players lightly. You have to know in this iteration, right, what maps they're going to pick, what the champion options might be. And as we just saw in that matchup, Cypher looked incredibly great, but COOLLER still with enough in his tank to be able to take that map. Now, he's still going to sit in the number 10 seed. And Flea, you mentioned, right, your seed going into the finals here. We're in week 6. We still have a long ways to go. But being in that number 10 spot, that's dangerous. And it's you're going to potentially be up for relegation. You're going to then have a tough run through any type of finals that you're going through. So, I mean, would have loved to seen a series win, but I think Cypher's just in the better shape right now to be able to take that.
And I mean, we've seen it before, right? There have been players that were always deemed too big to fall, like Tox and Chron, and they still ended up in relegation. They dropped out of the Quake Pro League, so the same thing could absolutely happen to COOLLER if he's not careful.
I have just been informed that we have our interview with Cypher locked in and ready to go. So I suppose, folks, without further ado, Cypher on the line. Again, congratulations for a result. I know it wasn't the 3-0 that everyone's after, but how are you feeling right now?
I feel a little bit disappointed with the last map, even though I won the series, but I really wanted to win the last map. I knew that the picks were better for him. I think Anarchy is better at some point. It's not better, but it's really hard to play against Anarchy as an X.
And obviously that's reflected. Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's it. I'm happy that I won the series, but I'm a little bit tilted that I lost the last map.
Well, so one thing I've wanted to ask you is, so there's obviously whispers in chat about COOLLER preparing quite heavily for this matchup. And with that in mind, when it comes to a player like COOLLER, like, is there anything, I suppose, extra that goes into your preparation of this kind of matchup? Or do you follow a lot of the same procedure? Or are there any kind of special elements for preparing for someone like COOLLER in this match?
I think specifically for each player, I'm practicing I'm trying to think that everybody is unique. So, and COOLLER is like one of the most unique players in history. And I played him so many times. I actually know what he's up to. It's mostly about the executions between us. And I know for sure when he is on his zone, when he have his momentum, and when he's patient, he is like one of the hardest guys to play. But sometimes he wants a really full control, like really early, and he's making everything for that, and he makes a lot of unnecessary moves which cost him the frags. But in general, I think he he's still playing his really great game, and he can be like really great, even better, like to the finals.
Okay.
Cypher, just a general question. How do you feel about your performance so far in this stage? Because you've had quite a few nice wins, for example, against Razy, CNZ, and now COOLLERZ as well, but they've always been 2-1 victories,
Yeah.
no real 3-0. So how
Yeah.
do you feel about your shape?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I feel really good, but all the time when it's like, I don't even know what to say. It's I can't do 3-0. If I really feel I'm better today, I still can't do the 3-0. It was the same with CNZ. With CNZ first game, this regionals was overtime last map, and I was like, what is going on? And on first map, I won him like plus 20. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Cypher, congratulations. You mentioned that you were disappointed about your result in map 3. What I would love to hear from you is, what do you feel, or what are you happy with yourself that went right for maps 1 and 2?
I'm happy that I managed to be cool on first map. I didn't rush anywhere. I didn't try to get the full control since the beginning and fight with him, like play these jungle games. But instead of that, I tried to be sure in first frag. This is what happened, and then it was a lot more easier. On second map, I think it was tight before till the middle of the game or something like that, and then there was like some crucial moments after which COOLLERZ started to try to regain the control back, but it was the moment where I was already snowballing him.
Yeah.
So
great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, well played.
Do you have more? Yeah.
No. That's it.
Well, from all of us, thank you very much for your time here, Cypher, and congratulations again for a
Congrats,
victory.
Cypher.
Yeah, I wanted also to shout out, honestly, I wanted to shout out to my moderator from my Twitch channel, Kijrat. I think a lot of you guys know him, so just shout out to him and thank you for moderating my channel. And yeah, he's a great guy.
Awesome.
He's a great guy.
Thank you so much. Well done, everyone, and GG's to Cypher. We'll let you go now, and cheers for your time, mate. So, folks, I mean, just like that, we've only got one more series left to go, and we're done for the day. Crazy business. We're going to go for one final break, and when we come back, the Pro League of this latest week will have its conclusion, I suppose. See you in a bit.